So, a very warm welcome everyone to the 11th episode of Nature's Orbit TorchLight Series. Today we have with us Dr. Sanjay K Gupta, and we are very privileged to have him with us in conversation. And he is a social and environmental development specialist with 21 years of experience in integrated waste management, recycling, and livelihoods. He's a senior expert and advisor with SCAT Foundation and Swiss Red Cross, Switzerland, Resource and Waste Advisory Group UK, Bulgaria, senior advisor to Government of Assam, Ministry of Urban Development SBM, and director of the NGO Care Northeast Foundation. And he's currently helping the Assam government for improving waste management and also training ULBs on complaint and grievance redressal mechanisms. He has taken Tinsukia from the dirtiest town in the country in 2017 to 18 to the fastest moving clean cities in Swachh Sarvekshan 2022. His ultimate dream is to create more than 1,000 sustainable employments with 50% of women in it at all levels. He has spoken globally and is also a repeat TEDx speaker. And he has a PhD in social sciences from JNU and also completed waste management courses from Sweden and Egypt. Hi, Dr. Sanjay sir. Thank you for being here, and it's really an honor. So, sir, I would first want to know, please let us know about your whole journey as a social and environmental development specialist, and about your pivotal role in as a senior expert and advisor in India and globally.
Thanks, Triveni. Pleasure being here.
Yes, sir.
It's a little odd story. I was based in Switzerland, and my hometown, Tinsukia, it turned out, I read it in a newspaper, that it has turned out to one of the dirtiest city in the country. Okay. This happened in 2017, and some, I would say, some feeling of Desh Prem emerged, and I decided to come back from Switzerland to Tinsukia to clean up my hometown, thinking that I've been staying in probably the cleanest place on the earth, and my own town is being termed as one of the dirtiest. So in 2018, I returned back and I started working in Tinsukia. I did the pilot, which was very, very successful because nothing existed at that point of time in Tinsukia. We could demonstrate that we can create jobs, we can utilize waste as a resource, we can make sustainable living for the poorest of the poor who are often without any skills or investment. And that journey turned into a little bigger horizon in 2019 when they invited us to participate in a tender, and we were given the entire town to manage waste. And since then, Tinsukia, in the year 2018-19, we came out of the list of the dirtiest cities. We are off the list in 1 year. Next year, we got in the top 10 in the Northeast India. And this year in the Swachh Sarvekshan 2021, we were fastest moving clean cities in under 1 lakh population category. So those things have been done. And apart from that, we were able to create Tita, a small municipality of around 40,000 population, into the first zero waste town of Northeast. And then we started working in a few other places. We started working with the schools and colleges, turning them into zero waste campuses. So it has been an exciting journey. It has been a journey where my passion, I was very passionate about waste, that what can we do, why should we dump. So the JNU, Jawaharlal Nehru University, where I was studying, that was the first university in the world to be turned into a zero waste. And it stayed until 2006 when I was studying. And then that concept went everywhere around the world, around the country. A lot of schools and colleges at that point of time, around 100 plus schools and colleges adopted zero waste campus. They still practice it. So the idea of zero waste propagated at that point of time, initially starting from JNU, continues that, and so is my journey.
Okay, so like very few people have that instinct within themselves to do something for their place. Everybody is like thinking, I will do this, that, and there are very few people like you who are actually doing stuff. So I may consider that this paved your way as a social and environmental development specialist. Like this is the journey which took you there, right, sir?
Yes, I think it was my work in waste management. Many of them very innovative. Like when we talk about banning the plastic today nowadays, when from 1st of July, we did that in 2002. It was called Freedom from Plastic campaign in JNU. So we identified 12 types of plastics which had to be banned. And that time the vice chancellor was happy to see a list and that kind of vision, and he actually passed an order. So until I was there in the university, what they are trying to do today, it was done in JNU years back, 15 years back. It was called Freedom from Plastic.
Right, right, sir, right. So I believe that's really a great initiative on your part. And I would just like to proceed with the next thing I want to ask you. Please share with us your vision for the future and dream to create more than 1,000 sustainable employments with 50% women at all levels. So what's your vision?
So let me start with giving you a couple of examples. One, in Tinsukia, we have been able to create 110 jobs with nearly 45% of them being women at all levels, whether they are working in the office or they work in the field as supervisors or they are actual waste collectors. The only place where we have not been very successful is that we wanted to teach them driving vehicles, which not many came forward in spite of sponsoring trainings, and there are cultural reasons around it. But we have been able to 45% women in our workforce. In Titawar, where we did the zero waste program, all the 18 staff was women,
Okay.
from the supervisor to the workers. So I look more this from the perspective of empowerment. And when we recruit people, we are not recruiting people because they need a job. We are recruiting a certain category which goes beyond educational qualification and experience. These are the two things generally anybody will look. We don't look like that way. We look at the level of poverty person coming into this kind of job, how poor they are and how much they need this job. Look at the passion. Do they really want to do it, or just for the sake of earning few thousand they are trying to do it, and then they will leave as soon as probably they get another job. And the third thing we looked at, whether they really love their town. Will they continue to contribute into it? So we created these three criteria which were beyond. We didn't ask any educational qualification, we didn't ask any experience, we didn't ask for any kind of investment. And what we realized, most of the people who joined when I came back from Switzerland, they still continue, at least most of them, if not all of them. So our criteria for inducting people as a team was very different. And probably we're the only one who are not looking or asking the educational quality. And as far as creating jobs, Assam has 32 districts. Considering that all the districts are headquarters have a 1 lakh population, or even if they don't have, that means if Tinsukia with a population of 1 lakh 38,000, 40,000 can have 110 jobs created freshly, completely new jobs, I believe in every district headquarter or towns, similar number of jobs could be created. So 1,000 is not a big job. If the government actually makes it mandatory and there are leadership like this, then we can go beyond 1,000. We can go 3,000 plus actually. But when I set up a goal, I set up a goal that which is achievable and not for as a dream. That I keep dreaming about it and not able to do it. So it's perfectly possible. It can, in the value chain, it can actually create more jobs, but then it will require a different strategy and investment.
Sir, I'm really proud being a woman, and I'm really glad that you are thinking something regarding women, because most of the time women are being deprived. And I really find your thing really interesting, sir. Sir, please tell us something about your sector strategy development programs for waste management and wash in developing countries, research papers, and your contribution to books. So, in specific.
Well, as far as sector strategy and vision is concerned, I'm very clear about it, particularly about the Northeast. I think that all the states of the Northeast plus Sikkim can go and adopt a zero waste principle vision.
Okay.
We don't produce, our per capita waste generation is much lower than the mainstream or mainland India. We are pretty much greener than them. So we produce a lot of organic waste which can be turned into compost immediately. And we have demonstrated it in Tinsukia, in Titabar, in schools, in colleges, and at homes. Thousands of homes have gone zero organic waste in Tinsukia by doing home composting. At municipal level, Titabar has done so. So I would really love to see entire Northeast adopting a zero organic waste principle. And for as far as other materials are there, since we don't have much heavy industries here and don't produce a lot of chemical and hazardous waste, except the oil industry, I think we are in a far better position to adopt those principles. And these will also create huge number of jobs locally. And these are sustainable jobs because waste will be continue to be produced and probably it will increase as we progress. So these are very, very sustainable jobs. You just can't do away with them. Irrespective of your economy, waste will be there and somebody needs to manage it. So these are very sustainable and green jobs. As far as writing is concerned, I think I've been writing internationally since 2002. My journals have been published internationally. I have written a book called, I've been co-authored a book called Solid Waste Management and Sustainable Development Goals. That time it was called MDGs, Millennium Development Goals. We have contributed internationally to the United Nations Habitat Program on solid waste management and informal recycling. Besides that, I've written on water and sanitation credit, a lot of articles in the newspaper, but almost all of them linking three things: how to create jobs in the waste sector. Secondly, how to reduce waste through composting and recycling. And thirdly, and probably the most importantly, how to improve waste governance in India and Northeast in particular. Because the challenge is not really the waste. The challenge is the deficit in the waste governance that we have at the municipal level. Probably all the municipality in Northeast, there are serious waste governance deficits, which probably the governments need to look at much more carefully and intensively than they have been looking at.
Right. Okay, so sir, which of the sustainable development goals are you most aligned to, and why?
There is not just one goal we are aligned to. Actually, the waste sector, not me as such, but the waste sector. If you look at goal number SDG 1, it directly talks about that everybody, irrespective of their income, should have access to a safe working environment and safe collection and disposal of waste management. Similarly, if you look at SDG 6, it talks about reducing poverty. So when we are employing people into the waste sector, we are trying to reduce poverty. Like I give you the example of Tinsukia, 110 people. These jobs did not exist earlier. Same story goes in Titabar and probably in Nagaon today. So then there is, if you go 16, then similarly, we are talking about climate change and clean energy. So if when waste is turned into biogas separately, it's a clean energy, it's considered a clean energy. So there are layers of sustainable development goals and its targets that is linked with waste sector. So jobs is one, reducing hunger is another one. Then providing safe climate is another one, safe working environment is another one. So there are multiple goals, and within those sub goals, which are called the targets, are directly linked with the waste sector. And I guess jobs, safety, climate change, energy are some of the most important things which are directly linked with the waste sector.
Right, sir, right. And we have almost come to the end of the session. But in the end, I would just like to ask you a very pertinent question, actually, that what is the message you want to send to all the youth here who's watching you today, who's watching us on climate action, and what are the consequences if we don't stress on this matter right now, sir?
Well, my message, or rather say our message, should be that be a part of the movement and not just be a critic of the movement.
Yeah.
So most of us tend to blame that municipality is not doing this or the government is not doing that. But let's look at individual, we are doing to improve whether it is a climate change or the environment or waste governance. I'll give you one personal example that can probably give you a good idea. I haven't used a straw in the last 16 years. As an individual, I don't take a straw to drink a coconut water or any beverage. Imagine the number of straws that I have saved in terms of not throwing it, because it will not get recycled. It will end up in a drain or a water body or a river or an ocean.
Yes.
So at individual level, if we all start taking actions, or say, for example, another is segregating waste, our problems will reduce. As long as we think that 200 people employed in a municipality will clean the dirt created by 200,000 populations, I think those things are not going to change. So my message is very clear: be the part of the movement and then work through it, rather than just being a critic of an institution or government.
Okay, sir. So I personally really felt good talking to you, because you have looked into things which are very common yet unobserved, especially the case of women, the case of waste management. People are doing waste management, but not like the way you are doing. So thank you for being with us in this episode, in this session. And thank you for sharing all your journey and all your messages. And I hope each one of you who's watching you today, each one of us who is watching you today will be inspired and glad. So, sir, once again, thank you for being here. And here we come to the end of the meeting, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Triveni. It was my pleasure being here, and thank you for sharing the messages.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.